starting Be'ez Hashem, the paragraph after Krishma. Baruch Hashem, we finished Krishma. We're now moving on to the next parasha, which is, of course, the parasha of Emes Veyatziv. That's what we're holding. So, a couple of ideas before we actually start the words. Is this idea of Emes Veyatziv? It's brought down many places in Chazal. Most famously is the Mishnah in Tomid, Daf Hey, Gemara Brachos Yud Beis, and the Zohar also in Rus, in fact, brings down to say the perek of Emes Veyatziv. In fact, it is brought down also in the Gemara Brachos Chaf Aleph that if a person doesn't say for some reason the previous parasha that we've been discussing, which is the parasha of Tzitzis, Vayomer, the third paragraph of Krishma, he should say Emes Veyatziv, and he can actually mekayim the mitzvah daraisa of Zechiras Yitzias Mitzrayim. Now, a couple of inyonim to remember. The Beis Yosef brings it in Semen Samach Aleph in Orach Chaim. It's also brought in the Kaf HaChaim over there, also Samach Aleph Yud Ches, where he says that a person should be very careful when you say this paragraph, right, of Emes Veyatziv. Don't miss or swallow any of the vovs. You'll notice, don't look at it now, but you'll notice tomorrow morning that there's many vovs in Emes Veyatziv. Be very careful. There are huge inyonim in the vovs of Emes Veyatziv. And there are many people, if you'll ever notice, that will actually count them with their fingers just to make sure that they don't. That's what they're doing. Comes from the Zohar Kodesh. It's a very, very big inyonim by the Emes Veyatziv. The vovs are very important. Now, another thing as well is this bracha does not start with a baruch. It doesn't start with a baruch. Why not? Because it's a bracha shesmucha lechaverta, and since it's somach to the first bracha of Krishma, and Krishma is not a hefsek in between, there's a chibur, there's a connection, Hashem Elokeichem Emes, that's the reason why it does not have a baruch in the beginning in that case. We are also told as well in the Zohar Kodesh that the words in Emes Veyatziv need to be said very disconnectedly. That's not a real word. But that basically means that every word should be bifnei atzmoi by itself. There should not be like a jumble of different words, sort of mumbled together. The Zohar Kodesh brings down that there was a person that actually died simply because, Zohar Kodesh says it, simply because he wasn't careful to separate, to make a separation between the words of Emes Veyatziv. Chazal tell us, it's brought down in the Avudram, that he says that the reason why we say Emes Veyatziv is to remember the Gevaldige Nissim that the Rabban Shem did to our ancestors when they got let out of Mitzrayim and they saw the Gevaldige Nissim of Yam Suf and they experienced it and all the Mitzrayim dying and everything over there. And Chazal bring a posuk in Tehillim from Tehillim Sadi Beis, Lahagi Baboike Chazdecha, some Mefurish song, that a person every single day has to recount and say over the wonderful things that the Rabban Shalom has done for us in the past and obviously continues to do for us. And that is, in a nutshell, what is going on with the words, with the inyonim of Emes Veyatziv. It's a very important paragraph, perhaps more important than we even realized until you came here today. So at least you understand a little bit of the importance. Let's now move on to some of the words. Emes Veyatziv. Now, a Veyatziv, by the way, is actually the Aramaic translation of Emes, which basically means what we are saying when we say the word Emes Veyatziv is we are confirming and we are conveying the idea that the truth of Ani Hashem Elokeichem is true in an environment of Gilui Hashchina, or Emes during the periods of a Hesteponim, which is conveyed in the Aramaic translation of Veyatziv. In both situations, everything's Emes. Hashem runs the world. Hashem is it. Right? V'nochim v'kayim, it's established and enduring. V'yoshav v'ne'emon, fair and faithful. V'ohuv v'hov, right? Beloved and cherished. V'nechbod v'noim, again we're seeing, by the way, you notice all the vovs, right? V'nochin, v'kayim, v'yosha, v'ne'emon, v'ov, v'chaviv, v'nechbod v'noim, v'noim, v'adim, v'tukim, right? Don't swallow the vovs, don't swallow the words. V'nechbod v'noim, delightful and pleasant, v'noim, v'adi, awesome and powerful. Once again, we are recounting the gadlus of the Melech Malchei Amlochim at all times, when it's seen and it's obvious and it's even pleasant and gishmak for us, and when it's not seen and maybe it's unpleasant for us. U'mesukkan u'mekubal, correct and accepted, right? The Torah, the Rabbeinu Shalom, we accept at all times. It makes no difference if we understand, if it makes sense to us, it's irrelevant. The Torah v'yafa, it's beautiful and it's good. Hadava za'aleinu la'olam v'ed, right? This is affirmed to us forever and ever. Emes Elokei Olam. Maybe over here And I think over here is a wonderful place that we'll stop over here by the word Emes. Tomorrow we'll continue.